Everyone in the room turned to look at her, the woman in the plain dress, sitting quietly at the back. She didn't speak much and didn't seem to belong among the well-dressed crowd that had gathered for the will reading of a wealthy businessman. Whispered comments floated through the air. Whoa is she? Probably the housemaid. She must be lost. Laughter followed. No one offered her a seat. No one thought twice. She just sat there, hands folded in her lap, eyes down, saying nothing. The late Mr. Lawrence had passed away suddenly, and his relatives were eager to hear what treasures had been left behind. His children, nieces, nephews, even distant cousins had all shown up dressed for success, each convinced they were about to walk away with a fortune. But when the lawyer opened the folder and began to read, the mood shifted. The names they expected to hear weren't mentioned. Instead, the lawyer paused, glanced at the quiet woman in the back, and said a name that made the room fall silent. Gasps filled the air. Faces turned pale. Some even stood up in disbelief. That simple woman, the one everyone ignored, had just inherited everything. The mansion, the bank accounts, the company shares, every last piece. But who was she? And why did Mr. Lawrence leave it all to her? Before anyone could get answers, the woman stood up, and what she said next would change everything. The room held its breath as the woman slowly rose to her feet. Her voice was calm, almost too calm for a moment like this. "My name is Anna," she said. Some people still looked confused. Others were already whispering again. No one recognized her. She didn't look like someone who had grown up in wealth, and she certainly didn't act like someone who had just inherited millions. But the lawyer confirmed it again. Everything Mr. Lawrence owned was now in her name. People began asking questions, their voices rising. There must be a mistake. Woe is she to him? She's lying. But Anna didn't flinch. She simply looked at the lawyer, then down at the envelope in her hand, the one that had been handed to her privately just before the reading. You see, what no one in that room knew was that Anna had a story, one she'd never shared with anyone. Years ago, when she was struggling just to get by, she had taken a job as a caregiver for an older man recovering from surgery. That man was Mr. Lawrence. At the time, he wasn't the powerful figure everyone knew him to be. He was vulnerable, quiet, and deeply lonely. Anna never asked him for anything. She never even told people she worked for him. She just did her job with kindness, and when he recovered, she disappeared from his life without asking for thanks. But clearly, he hadn't forgotten her. And now, his entire family was being forced to face a truth they hadn't expected. The man they thought they knew had made a final decision that none of them could understand. And Anna, she still hadn't told them everything. Not yet. What was inside that envelope might explain it all, or it might only make things worse. Anna held the envelope tightly in her hand, her fingers trembling just slightly. Across the room, eyes darted between her and the lawyer, confusion turning into frustration. Mr. Lawrence's eldest son, Richard, was the first to speak. "This has to be a joke," he snapped. "My father would never leave everything to a stranger." His voice echoed in the room, sharp and accusing. Others nodded in agreement, their faces filled with disbelief. But Anna didn't respond to him. She looked around the room slowly, meeting the gaze of each person. People who had once smiled only when it suited them, who were now staring at her like she had stolen something. In truth, they hadn't visited Mr. Lawrence in years. Some hadn't even called. But here they were, dressed in black, pretending to grieve, only to chase what they believed they were owed. Behind their outrage was fear. Fear that maybe Mr. Lawrence had seen through their act, and maybe Anna had seen more of the man than they ever did. Meanwhile, Richard's younger sister, Elise, stood silently near the back. Her eyes weren't full of anger like the others. Hers was searching, almost like she remembered something. A woman with kind eyes sitting at their father's bedside, a soft voice reading to him when no one else had time. Could it have been Anna? As tension crackled in the air, the lawyer cleared his throat. "There's also a video message," he said. Murmurs rippled through the room. Anna's heart pounded. She hadn't known about that. The lawyer walked over to a small laptop on the desk and clicked a file. The screen lit up. And then, the late Mr. Lawrence appeared, sitting in his favorite chair, looking straight into the camera. What he was about to say would change everything. Again, the room fell into a tense silence as Mr. Lawrence's image flickered onto the screen. His voice was slow, but steady, measured, like every word had been chosen carefully. "If you're watching this," he began, "then I'm no longer here. And by now, I imagine many of you are confused, maybe even angry." A few people shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Richard's jaw clenched. Elise folded her arms, still staring at Anna. "I've watched this family grow apart over the years," Mr. Lawrence continued. "Some of you visited only when it was convenient. Others stopped altogether. But one person, a woman with no ties to me, showed more loyalty and care than I receive from my own blood." Whispers spread like wildfire across the room. A few heads turned toward Anna again, this time not just with confusion, but with something sharper. Resentment. Mr. Lawrence's voice carried on. "Anna never asked for anything. She was kind to me when I had nothing to offer. Not because she had to, but because she chose too. And I made my decision knowing many of you would not understand it." Anna could feel the heat of their stares now. The will had already spoken, but hearing it from Mr. Lawrence himself made it real in a way the paper hadn't. She gripped the envelope tighter. She still hadn't opened it. Inside could be the reason why he'd trusted her so completely, or a secret that would cause even more chaos. Just as the video was about to end, Mr. Lawrence leaned forward slightly in the recording. "There's one more thing," he said, his tone dropping lower. "Something you all need to know about Anna and about me." The screen faded to black before he finished. And just like that, the room erupted. The screen going black left the room frozen in shock. People were half out of their chairs, shouting over each other, demanding answers. Richard slammed his fist on the table. "Play the rest, there has to be more." The lawyer shook his head. "That's all we received. The video ends there." But Anna knew better. Mr. Lawrence wouldn't have stopped mid-sentence unless he wanted to. He had always planned his moves carefully, just like this. Suddenly, all eyes were on her again. "What is he talking about?" someone demanded. "What don't we know?" The envelope in her hand felt heavier now. Her heart raced. She didn't want to open it in front of them, but it seemed like the only way to get control back from the rising chaos. With a deep breath, she tore the envelope open. Inside was a single folded letter. Her eyes scanned it quickly, and then she froze. Her lips parted slightly, but no words came. Elise stepped forward, her voice softer than the rest. "What is it, Hannah?" Anna looked up, her face pale. It's about my mother," she said, barely above a whisper. Confused silence followed. "Your mother?" Elise asked. Anna nodded slowly. "Years ago, before I was born, Mr. Lawrence knew her. This letter says she worked for him, and that I might be his daughter." The room went absolutely still. Gasps filled the space like cold air. Richard's face turned red with disbelief. "That's a lie," he shouted, but the lawyer suddenly looked concerned. "There was one sealed document he gave us with strict instructions to open only if a claim like this was made," he said, reaching for a locked drawer. No one breathed as he pulled out a large brown envelope. Whatever was inside could change everything again, and this time forever. The lawyer's hands shook slightly as he opened the sealed envelope. Everyone in the room leaned forward, holding their breath. Slowly, he pulled out a typed letter along with a small, official-looking document. He read silently for a few seconds, then looked up, his face unreadable. "This confirms it," he said at last. "A paternity test was done years ago. Mr. Lawrence had it filed privately with his legal team. Anna is his biological daughter." Gasps filled the room again. this time with a mix of disbelief and stunned silence. Richard staggered back like he'd been struck. Ellis looked at Anna with wide eyes, no anger, just shock. The others began to murmur, trying to make sense of everything they thought they knew. The woman they'd mocked, the one they thought was an outsider, had been family all along. Anna stood still, absorbing the weight of it. All her life, she believed she came from nothing. Her mother had passed away without ever telling her the truth, and now, the man she thought she'd just worked for had actually been her father, watching over her from a distance, quietly shaping her future. Richard suddenly stepped forward. "You think this changes everything," he sneered. "You didn't grow up with us. You didn't asterisk any of this." Anna met his glare calmly. "Neither did you," she said quietly. Just then, the lawyer cleared his throat again. "There's one more note, handwritten. It's short." He unfolded the paper and read aloud, "To Anna, your inheritance is not just wealth. Look in the old study. Behind the painting. You'll find what truly belongs to you, Everyone turned to look at her, but Anna was already moving. Whatever was hidden in that room, money couldn't compare, and what she'd find there would rewrite everything once more. Anna walked down the quiet hallway toward the old study. The rest of the family stayed behind, too stunned, or maybe too proud, to follow. The house, once so cold and unfamiliar, now felt strangely connected to her. Inside the study, she looked at the large painting above the fireplace, a landscape her mother used to love. Gently, she lifted it off the wall. Behind it, just as the letterhead said, was a small hidden compartment. Inside, she found a wooden box, worn but carefully locked. The key was already in it. She opened the lid and saw faded photographs, handwritten letters, and a small gold locket with her mother's name engraved. There was also a journal, Mr. Lawrence's journal. Page after page detailed his regret, his silence, and how he watched Anna grow from afar. He had always known, but never had the courage to come forward. The guilt, he wrote, ate at him every day. The fortune he left her wasn't just an inheritance, it was his way of trying to make things right. Anna sat quietly, letting the truth settle in. She wasn't just the caregiver, she was his daughter. And maybe, in a strange way, he had always tried to be part of her life the only way he knew how. Back in the main room, Elise approached her with soft eyes. "I always wondered why he smiled so much when you were around," she said. "Now I know." The rest of the family didn't say much. Some left in silence. Richard never looked her in the eye again. As Anna stepped outside into the sunlight, she felt the weight lift. She didn't just inherit money or property, she inherited a truth, a name, a legacy. And for the first time she knew exactly who she was.